In the headlines, the Police Welfare Association working to restore officers' morale. Barbados Prime Minister Mottley justifies the removal of visa requirements for Haitians entering her country. And the Ministry of Education to tackle gender disparity in the Grade 6 National Assessment. I am Andrea Lee with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this. Thank you for staying with us. First up, the police wants your help as they seek to apprehend 2 male suspects believed to be involved in the fatal shooting of 27-year-old Kerry George in Newtown on Wednesday. Police believe the suspects in the drive-by shooting headed south on a motorbike after George was shot twice. George was reportedly standing near a bus on the Newtown highway when he was shot by the pillion rider. He sustained a gunshot wound to his right thigh and one to his waist. If you know anything which could be of help with the police investigations, please call 266-5157, 266-5119 or the police headquarters at 911. In other top stories, Dominica has been commended for standing with Venezuela despite the reluctance of some of the international community in acknowledging the results of its 20th May general elections. Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Hayden Pereira, made the remarks during the celebration of his country's 207th anniversary of independence on Thursday.
On May 20, once again our country ratified that we are a democratic country. We have free and sovereign election, and President Nicolás Maduro was re-elected as the constitutional president of Venezuela for a period of 6 more years. I want to express my gratitude to Prime Minister Kerry for the great support given to Venezuela in the international forum, and also welcome the new member of the cabinet. Friend, the independence of a country is a precious treasure. It's freedom, sovereignty. It is union between countries. It's not for destruction. It is for progress and development.
Meantime, Deputy Prime Minister Reginald Austrie says Venezuela has proven to be a true friend to Dominica over the years.
Over the years, Venezuela has repeatedly demonstrated profound sincerity and friendship by standing by us in our darkest days and our darkest moments, especially following our several disasters. You were probably the first country who came to our support following Tropical Storm Erika and also following Hurricane Maria. You continue to stand strong by us, even when you too are going through some of your dark days. But we are confident that with the strength of the Venezuelan people, with their tenacity and their courage, you too shall overcome like Dominica strong.
Austrie further went on to pledge Dominica's continued commitment to its friendship with Venezuela.
We're going to say to you that we'll stand by you through thick and thin. You have been there with us, and I want you to convey to President Maduro that we stand solidly with him in the regional and international community. Our friendship is not based on what we can receive, but on total respect, on trust, and on sincerity.
Venezuela was the first country to establish diplomatic relations with Dominica following independence in 1978. In other developments, the Police Welfare Association is again boosting attempts at reviving the morale of its rank and file faced with hardships. The PWA will host a Trumps competition on Saturday and a special general meeting this Friday. PWA Chairman Corporal Jefferson Drigo said among the issues which the meeting will address is cases where their rights are being trampled upon.
As you know, the police force have a lot of challenges going through, and a lot of stress. It's a stressful job. They're going through a lot of stress. Police officers are denied vacation leave. They are accumulated rest days, which they're applying for, and at this time are told that the and not able to access it. The police force is at a turning point where we need good leadership, we need togetherness, and thus the reason for that competition that we have put together.
The police force was heavily criticized by private sector bodies for their inefficient approach to security after Hurricane Maria due to massive looting of businesses. The Dominica Business Forum had asked the authorities to launch an inquiry and question the competence of the hierarchy of the police force. Drigo has asked his colleagues to be alert.
I want to encourage police officers to continue to work hard and continue to work smart. So I'm saying, as I said, there are challenges right before us, and we have to go through the challenges together, and we must adhere to instructions given from the higher authority. They have said that we are ready. I'm saying we have to prepare ourselves and for any eventualities.
The Public Service Union is requesting that government make allowance for aid for first responders within the public service during times of disaster. General Secretary of the PSU, Thomas Later, said the experiences coming out of the post-Hurricane Maria situation showed that public officers who were first responders got little to no direct state assistance.
We believe that following any natural disaster, that some public officers are first responders, and you think of people like your health personnel, you think of your fire officers and a number of other public officers. But yet still, we find that they are not given any attention, any form of assistance, because these people have to abandon their families for days, sometimes for weeks, attending to the needs of the general public. And we are seeing that some provisions should be made in the budget where these people can be assisted.
Later says there is wisdom in providing such assistance early on in the aftermath of a disaster.
And I'm not even talking about when you begin to go to the recovery process, but even a few days or weeks after the disaster, public officers are not really assisted. It has to be both financial and material, because remember, some of them, they do not have the time, they are attending to the public, so when things are being distributed, they are not there to even receive on behalf of their families.
In other news, Barbados Prime Minister Mottley says it is unfair to place greater restrictions on Haitians seeking to enter CARICOM countries than that placed on non-CARICOM nationals.
Prime Minister Mottley told the 39th CARICOM heads meeting currently being held in Jamaica that in the context of promoting the CARICOM single market and economy, the standards required for Haitians cannot be higher than that expected of others entering the region or who are not signatory to the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas.
Every day, we allow people who are not members of this community to travel freely into the Caribbean without visas. Haiti took the extraordinary step of signing the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas and committing to a CARICOM single market and single economy. In those circumstances, my cabinet has agreed to remove the visa requirements for Haiti because in our view, it breaches the fundamental tenets that bind us under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. And those tenets, for those who have forgotten, relate to non-discrimination and relate to not treating anyone outside of the community in a more favorable manner than we treat each other in the community.
Mottley says there is no reason why the region's government should be anxious or nervous about the issue of free movement within the region. She says while it's a difficult point in the region's existence, it's not one that requires decisions that will divide the region. Mottley added there was need for CARICOM to review its objects and purposes in order to avoid the nervousness surrounding the issue of free movement within the region.
The 39th meeting of CARICOM heads in Jamaica this week coincides with CARICOM's 45th anniversary since its establishment. But how much has been achieved by way of the single market and economy? Jamaica's Prime Minister and the Chairman of CARICOM, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, believes it is an opportune time for evaluation. Holness called for reflection on the road to regional integration, noting that a willingness for introspection was key to the survival of any institution.
This 45-year milestone represents an opportune time to evaluate our institutions. As we look towards the commemoration of our 50th anniversary, we owe it to the people of the region to deliver on commitments made to an effective process of regional integration that will improve the quality of their lives. The CARICOM single market and economy is undoubtedly the single most significant regional initiative that has occupied the attention of member states since its inception in 2003. However, progress has not been commensurate with our aspirations. Accordingly, we have agreed to devote significant time to further examination of the CSME. The Prime Minister of Barbados holds the responsibility for the processes relating to the CSME, and we look forward to working with her energetically towards a practical path to progress in this regard.
With respect to the Caribbean Court of Justice, after 13 years, only 4 countries have signed on to the court in its appellate jurisdiction. They are Dominica, Guyana, Belize, and Barbados. Justice Sir Dennis Byron has been replaced by Sir Adrian Saunders as President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, a key component for the success of the Caribbean single market and economy. As we see in this clip from Jamaica's TVJ, Sir Dennis expressed some regrets.
When I took up this position just about 7 years ago, I started with the perhaps naive expectation that during my tenure, all remaining states would have accomplished the abolition of appeals to the Privy Council and established the CJJ as the final appellate court.
Coming up, a quest to improve rapport between police officers and their superiors.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Education is developing programs to tackle the problem of gender disparity in the Grade 6 National Assessment. This year, 937 pupils wrote the exams, 459 of whom were girls and 478 of whom were boys. Senior Education Officer for Curriculum, Measurement and Evaluation, Robert Geist, explained that girls continue to outperform boys academically.
Here we have a distribution of the scores by gender. Now the red bars represent the females and the blue bars represent the male. Now if you look at the graph, on the lower end, we have the blue bars being higher than the red bars. That means that, the boys got more of the lower scores than the girls. The middle of the graph, that's the average scores, and even at that point, we still see, on average, the girls are scoring better than the boys. If we look to the extreme right, we will see that the girls are doing better than the boys in that case. They're getting more of the high scores than the boys.
Minister for Education Peter Sergeant says the ministry continues to be aware of this gender disparity in exam results and is taking steps to address the matter.
As a ministry, we are again concerned by the striking gender disparity manifested in the results. Our girls continue to outperform boys by significant margins, and you just saw this. In recent years, we as a ministry have focused our training on helping teachers to adjust teaching methods that address male underachievement. We will continue with these interventions and hope that our consistent efforts in teacher training and development will help us arrest this particular sore point.
2 of the top 5 performers in this year's Grade 6 National Assessment were boys and 3 were girls. 10-year-old Sev Mackenzie of the Convent Prep topped the exams. Attorney John Alue Charles, who is representing the Police Welfare Association, is hoping to build better dialogue between the police and their chain of command. On Monday, Attorney Charles was introduced as the legal representative of the PWA.
And part of my mandate is to facilitate that environment for the exchange of information. We are still working on it. And it goes back to some of the questions. Why am I engaged? Why am I there? I'm engaged because of the nature of the work I do. My responsibility is to look at reasonable, practical, sustainable solutions to problems, not to throw our hands in the air and say I can do nothing, but say what are the reasonable alternatives we have to some of the issues that we are facing.
Charles's observation is that the executive of the PWA has been making an effort to enhance relations with the hierarchy of the police force and the public.
So the police welfare, faced with its challenges, is saying there are little things we can do to build camaraderie, to build spirit, to allow for exchange, to allow for communication, that within ourselves we can ask ourselves questions, how we can improve our relationship with the public and among ourselves and with the command level officers. So it is a hopeful exercise, it is a demanding exercise, it is an ambitious exercise, and the chairman and his executive will use the appropriate mechanisms and the media to bring these matters out to the public.
The Ministry of Health has completed phase 1 of a campaign to increase public awareness on the connection between oral health and non-communicable diseases, NCDs. A 6-week pilot program dubbed Get Healthy Campaign, the link between oral health and NCDs, recently wrapped up in the St. Joseph Health District. Health educator and coordinator of the program, Adora Toussaint, says NCDs are increasing and the public needs to be more aware of the relationship between oral health and NCDs.
Oral health and NCDs are closely related. They have the very same risk factors of poor nutrition or poor unhealthy diet, I may say, tobacco use and alcohol use. And we recognize that NCD is an increase in Dominica, and we wanted to step in just at the right time to see what can we do as health educators. And that's the reason why I chose to do oral health and NCDs, knowing that there was a link between oral health and NCDs based on research and also based on WHO findings during various countries that they went through looking at oral health and where oral health is in line with NCDs.
This campaign was held in collaboration with the Dental Services Unit. Acting Health Promotion Coordinator Mignon Shillingford says this Get Healthy campaign will help build resilience among the public.
At health promotion, we believe that we have to build resilience in the health of our people, because if we are not healthy, the structure can be as strong as what? and there will be no healthy person to live in it, right? So we want you to build resilience in relation to how you care for yourself in health. And by doing so, this program linking the relationship, it's out of the box. A lot of times people do not think how my mouth, taking care of my mouth and my hygiene will affect my health. They will think of the diet and the exercise and the medication.
The Ministry of Health plans to bring this program to the 6 other health districts. And Haitian President Jovenel Moïse has appealed to his CARICOM counterparts to say no to what he calls an invasion of plastic and styrofoam objects floating in the Caribbean Sea. Addressing CARICOM counterparts at their summit in Jamaica, the Haitian president expressed concern for the coasts of the Caribbean Sea and what he views as a serious problem for the environment. President Moïse pointed out that the Caribbean was not a major producer of plastic and styrofoam, but the region is the great victim. He says Haiti itself is in the process of working to find a sustainable solution to this serious environmental issue. To end the news, the headlines again. The Police Welfare Association working to restore officers' morale. Barbados Prime Minister Mottley justifies the removal of visa requirements for Haitians entering her country. And the Ministry of Education to tackle gender disparity in the Grade 6 National Assessment. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Lee, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us next time.